friends. Welcome to your weekly horoscope and taroscope with me, Natalie, spelled Natalee, as we open up the energies of your week ahead using remote viewing as well as Western astrological interpretation and the tarot. So for those of you that are here for your weekly tarot reading, go ahead and use the timestamp below to skip ahead. And for everyone else, let's start. Welcome to Monday, where we have the full moon in the sign of Capricorn. You can think back to December 23rd, 2022, because you were setting some kind of goal for yourself around those days, around Christmas. And now, congratulations. You have crossed the finish line, or you will be crossing that finish line over the next 2 weeks. This is a day that I am calling winners and losers, because with Capricorn, that's how it is. There's going to be feelings of accomplishment and pride and happiness and joy, and that wonderful, satisfied feeling that you have after you've done something really hard and difficult, and you've had to keep going even after you were tired and exhausted, even when you had doubts and you didn't know if it was going to work. You kept going, and now you are here celebrating. Phew, thank goodness that your perseverance led you to the right conclusion. It led you to the right outcome. It led you to the right resolution, the right solution for you. So this is your victory lap, you guys. This is the hardest this is like a hard-won accomplishment. You know, Capricorn trophies and Capricorn accomplishments are the things that become bedrock in our lives that we use every single day. But it's so ingrained structurally that it's easy to take it for granted. And it's also easy to continue on reinforcing it, reinforcing traditional systems, reinforcing support structures. And in that case, it might be a little bit resistant to upgrades or innovation, but not nearly as much as the fixed signs. So it would be more that, you know, if this is a Capricorn full moon for you where it's a little bit more on the downside, and you might have a little bit of both. You might have some very hard-won accomplishments that are paired with some disappointments. Not everything can make it, not everyone can go with you, not every single little thing can go your way and still get the outcome that you want for yourself. And so you will be measuring this out. You have your life barometer, you know, you have your feelings, you have your spiritual beliefs, you have your perception that is determining and polarizing everything that's going on for you over these 2 weeks and how you reflect on your accomplishments and the disappointments, these sacrifices that you've had to make, the doubts that you've had. How do they stand up now? How do they look to you? How do you feel about all of these things? This new moon in Capricorn, December the 23rd, sparked an ambition within you. So I want you to sort of tune back to that, because some of either the feelings of accomplishment or the feelings of disappointment can actually be traced back to the quality and the sincerity and the kernel of what it really was that you had this ambition for, this want, this need, this new energy impulse. Because if it was based on an ego need, for instance, that could have been something that changed over the last 6 months, either as you have outgrown that ego need or outgrown that version of yourself, or that you maybe did get to the heart of what you really wanted and then redefined success for yourself and chosen a new goal or changed something about the goal that you were originally aiming for. So I would say to judge your success, to judge the winners and the losers, will come down to your perception, because things just happen. Existence is just existence, and it's our perception of our experiences and our relationships that creates the polarization, that creates that judgment, that creates that this is happening and I like it, or this is happening and I don't like it. But just the things that are happening, they're just happening. It's just life. So this Capricorn full moon has the dose of seriousness and the integrity, the honesty, and the self-accountability that we do need to correct or modify or just improve any perception changes that have been keeping us from the real honesty. The real honesty, and I'm talking about the integrity because Capricorn rules integrity. So if there's been, for instance, an accomplishment, maybe you got something that you wanted, but maybe it was an ego need that you wanted. And so you get that, but then you lose something else, and there's a greater loss. And you didn't really think about that, or you didn't even expect that you would feel any kind of loss because you get what you want. We don't think that way. We don't think, okay, I'm going to get what I want, but I'll still feel empty. We don't think, oh, I'm going to get what I want, but I still feel lack, or I still feel loss, or I still feel lost, or I still feel like there's something wrong or off. We don't really think that way. We just think, if I get what I want, I'll be okay. If I get what I want, I'll be happy. If I get what I want, everything bad goes away. And this can be a full moon where the trine to Jupiter really gives us that big picture perspective of, okay, I can see where this is going, and I feel this feeling now, and I know it's going to grow, and I have to do something about it before it sort of gets out of control. Or, so it's like this trine to Jupiter, which is beautiful. We love it. We always love a trine to Jupiter. The thing about, and this is why I say not to judge the trines or the squares or the oppositions as good or bad. And that's because it's just the quality of the energy. So, for instance, a trine just means that there's nothing stopping it. It's just going. It's just, there it goes. It goes and goes and goes, and it's just got this easy flow to it. Nothing stopping it, just happens easily, just goes right on, goes right in. So that trine could give you the perspective where you have like the aha moment, but it can also give you the perspective, the aha moment for the reverse. I'm going to say, look back to, when was it, Friday? Over the weekend, when we had the Sun Mercury cazimi, the exterior cazimi in the sign of Cancer, because it's heavily a part of this lunation for everyone. And so it's probably more that you had some big revelation, big aha moment, big reveal, big picture perspective, because this was an exterior superior cazimi, that you've already gotten the bigger picture of things, and you can kind of already emotionally feel, emotionally intuit where you stand with your loyalties and your securities. I feel like that cazimi brought on a new emotional intelligence where you had an insight, you got the information, you saw the information, you had the conversation, someone called you, something happened, right? And that moment gave you the fullness of the perspective of everything. What was it? Since something that maybe started around the end of April, the beginning of May for you. And that perspective, you don't want to judge. You just want to know how you felt about it, and you just want to know what you were thinking about it, because that is what gives you the power to make the decision. So I don't want you to feel like that cazimi was a decision being made for you. That's not what it was. You make the decisions. Everything in life is a choice. If you're dating multiple people, you're going to choose, maybe if you choose one, if you want to choose one, you'll choose one. But the one that you choose, it's not going to be that, you might feel like some one person is right for you, but you may pick that person, and then 10, 20, 30 years roll along, and you might meet somebody else that feels like they're just right for you. And so these are the choices that we make to stay in a job or a relationship or a situation, or we make a decision to start a new project, start a new job, start a new friendship. And those choices are only going to be as good as our perception. And the perception is only going to be as good as our spiritual maturity. So this full moon is going to bring to light where we lack in some spiritual maturity, emotional maturity, mental maturity, just maturity across the board. And that's the full moon. So the full moon is going to be the meat of it. It's going to be the fullness of this experience for you since December 23rd, 2022. So that's why there are going to be winners, but there also have to be losers. There have to be contestants that you just weren't good enough this time, but reapply next year. There has to be moments in all of our lives when we're the losers and when we're the winners. Let me just give you just like a secret, a little secret, a little Capricorn secret. I'm a Capricorn stellium, very Capricorn woman here, Capricorn secret. Losing only matters to losers. Losers are the only ones that care so much about losing. Winners love losing. Winners know that losing teaches us so much that you cannot buy that experience. You cannot pay for a simulation to put you through some kind of experience in safety to get you to the right epiphanies and realizations that you need to have in order to be the perfect whatever. Okay. That's what separates winners from losers. It's the perception, it's the perspective, and it's how you even see something like winning and losing. Because the winner is going to lose the contest and say, okay, I'm going to take another class and I'm going to come back next year and I'm going to win. Maybe it takes them 5 years to do it, 10 years, whatever, but they will come back and they will rise to the challenge. They will meet the bar. They will raise the standard and they will do what they need to do. And that's a Capricorn way to do it. That's what Capricorn does. And that's what Capricorn really stands for in terms of coming out of the ignorance of the sea. We have the fishtail. So coming out of the ignorance of being human, of what it means to have a body and have hormones and to be so embedded in our flesh where it feels like we are our flesh. It feels like that is our identity. And to learn through pain, Capricorns, yes, to learn, you all hear me, to learn through pain, achieve wisdom and the perspective to climb with our little hooves to the very top of the mountain and become the king of the mountain, become the top of the mountain until it lasts for a half a second. This is just, I hate this about myself. At the top of the mountain, you're just taking a deep breath, you're looking around, proud of yourself, satisfied. This might even be you at this time, at your accomplishment, at the peak of your accomplishment. And you look, oh my God, what is, you see these things, you see another peak, another beautiful top of another different mountain, and you start to see the road, visualizing in your mind how to get down this mountain, do this, do that, start up the other mountain and reach the top of that mountain. Because Capricorn's a cardinal sign and always needs something to work towards, always needs something new and different to start on and to learn about and to master and to reach the top of. So even though you are celebrating some successes and you're very happy with yourself, don't let that sink down into what's next right away. Give yourself a moment to just enjoy your life. Just give yourself a moment to just like revel in what you've already accomplished, because you may be tempted to, with the momentum, to keep going, and maybe you do, maybe you will. But I would say, so that speaks to the accomplishment. So that's you celebrating your accomplishment. Give yourself a pat on the back. It was really freaking hard since December 23rd when we were still in the middle of a Mars retrograde. Things were still very not working in so many respects. There were still so many leftover karmic things to work out. There were still so many stories that still had to end at the time that you started this new ambition for yourself. So I just want to say props to you for dreaming that big at that time. That vision that you set for yourself probably was happening during a time when you may not have been very self-assured or confident that you'd be able to do it, or that something was going to work or something was going to go through. And you did it. You made it through, you made it to the other side, and you have yourself. No matter what else happens, you have yourself and you have that beautiful mind and that beautiful heart. So, there's that. Give yourself a pat on the back for that. Now let's speak to maybe either some of the losing situations or the loss, that comes with some full moons. It's either a culmination, this wonderful celebration, the fullness of something, and sometimes that means the end of it, because it's the full, you've already gotten the most that you're ever going to get out of it, and it's time to release it and let it go. you, if that's happening, it's because this full moon is bringing a clarity of purpose. And it goes back to that Mercury Cazimi as well. That also helped give you a clarity of, um, it's like the emotional intelligence got downloaded to you, but there's also a clarity of emotional loyalty, a clarity of personal integrity and self respect, knowing what you can live without, knowing what is impossible to live without in terms of how you treat yourself, nurture what you love in your life. And it starts with that front line, though. It starts with the self. So the first home is always yourself. Then it's your body, and then it extends to everything else. But the the clarity of purpose that comes through at this full moon in Capricorn cannot be overstated. So if there were, even as early as the weekend, things that were becoming clear to you, even if things were being clear in a definitive way, one way or another, don't even judge that. I wouldn't judge that. I would really just pay attention to your response to that. Your response to, because you might have a success, but maybe you didn't do it honestly, or you didn't do it fairly, or maybe you manipulated things to get this success. And so it might feel a little bit empty and a little bit cold. And the trine to Jupiter is going to give you that perspective that you didn't have as you've been pursuing this goal for the past 6 months. And just thinking, like, if I just get this, I'll be happy. If I just do this, I'll be happy. If I just lock this down, I'll be, everything bad will go away, I'll be happy. But you might get to that point and realize that maybe you lost a couple friends, maybe you alienated some family members from you, or maybe you um, just don't like yourself as much anymore. Thinking about how everything, how you changed from that goal to getting to the goal. That's one of the, what's it called? Like dime store astrology magazine from the 70s, stereotypical Capricorn energy, where it's like that ruthlessness where they'll just do anything to, get ahead and get their way. That's the very unevolved, lower vibrational Capricorn expression of that energy. And that's basically staying in the fish, at the tail end of the, I don't want to say chimera, but the half goat, half sea creature, half fish. That's just staying super unevolved. Capricorn does have to learn how to make the world give it what it wants, but it has to do so with integrity. It has to do so with patience and self discipline over a long period of time. Capricorn's not allowed to take the shortcuts and to be cutthroat and ruthless and all of that jazz. Karmically, karmically, that's very terrible. So there could be like empty success, empty wins where you get what you want, but then you realize that's not it's not what you want anymore, or you're still empty, or it's still something. So there could be that. Now, this could also be a great benchmark for some of you guys where you just realize that you might have the clarity of purpose, the clarity of desires, the clarity of of how you want to feel. And this full moon could be where you know what you need to do, what you have to do to get what you want so that you can relax and so that you can feel emotionally secure. And that goes into the full moon opposing the sun and Mercury in Cancer. So, like I'm saying, like the weekend coming into Monday, you're getting this like new emotional intelligence where something's becoming clear to you, and that is making you feel a certain way. So it's very, very definitive, like I said, and it does harken back to something about the end of April 2023, the beginning of May of this year, 2023, where you might just know where you stand emotionally. You might know where you stand in terms of what you need to feel emotionally secure, or what you need in order to relax about something, or even where home is for some people in some cases with this Cancerian energy. It's like, it's a very reluctant thing to like change homes, change your shell, change your environment. People don't want to change their lives to be with another person. People don't want to change their lives to make a dream come true. People don't want to change their lives to try and make a dream come true. People don't want to, move their homes and uproot their, I understand. I completely 100% compassionately understand that. I really do. So this um this full moon on Monday, you might just realize what specific things there are left to do in order, specific things that you have left to do that you've been putting off, that you've been either procrastinating, or if you have an issue with authority, you've been rebelling against it. Like it's like an internal pressure where it's like, yeah, I know I should go to the DMV, but I'm not going to because I'm lazy and I'm just going to procrastinate. I'm going to put it off. But it's like one of those Saturn Capricorn things where it's like, no, I need to do this, 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 and this. So between you and yourself, you and your private world, which is so important, you might know at this full moon what are the hard things that are left to do that you've been putting off, that you are putting off, that you know will give you the peace of mind. And it's the peace of mind of personal integrity. It's a peace of mind of self-respect. It's a peace of mind of just like being good with yourself. So I'm a Capricorn. It's a Capricorn full moon. I'm recording this. The moon is in Capricorn on Sunday. And I'm telling you, the way I'm feeling it, the way I'm channeling it is, it feels very psychologically strong. I feel very, how do I put this? It feels very cogent. It feels very like clear-headed. It feels more mental than anything. Like I don't really feel like the emotional stuff yet, but we'll see. I mean, it feels really, I just feel really
I hope you guys are getting as much out of the lipstick in my teeth as editing Natalie is getting out of this as she edits right now.
I feel like things, a lot of things just make such great sense. I think the understanding, and I say this all the time, we would rather understand than judge. And that's why I say that. It's because the perception of what's happening, it's your perception that creates the polarity. So if you, with practice, with practice and dedication over time, you can change your perception so that you are not hurt by your own perceptions. You're not hurt by your own expectations. You're not hurt by all these things that you are creating. So this is a wonderful moment. If you're watching this anytime around Monday or this week, it's a wonderful moment for you to embrace self-responsibility, because everything comes down to these personal choices, these personal decisions. Fate brings you opportunities, but it's you deciding if you're going to take that opportunity, or even if you see the opportunity. Remember, opportunities are not seen with the eyes, they're seen with the mind. So if your mind can't perceive an opportunity, sometimes I'll be looking at my chart and I see an opportunity, but I don't see it in my life. I see it astrologically, looking at my chart. I see there's opportunity, but I don't see it in my life. I don't see it working in my life. I can't put it together because it's a perception issue. It's a mental issue. It's a psychological issue. It's a subconscious issue. It's an energetic blockage issue. But I know the energy's there. So if you can care enough and trust enough to open yourself up to doing that kind of hard work, you can get very far. Anything that you want to put in hard work on, you could just like push it really right over the edge over these next 2 weeks, because you'll have like this Capricorn grit where we can honor our sense of duty and discipline far beyond when it's healthy for us. So if you use that in a productive way, if you use that in a healthy way, you can really push something over the mark of achievement. You can really push something across the finish line. So, on Monday, the winners and the losers. But remember the perception of what lose means, loser, losing. Change your perception on what that even is. That's like the best thing. It's a very special full moon because it will be a full moon crossing Pluto retrograding in Capricorn. And we are kind of at the tail end of a lot of this Pluto and Capricorn stuff. So it's solidifying everything we've been learning since 2008 in the Capricorn area of life. And it's also laying the groundwork and preparing us for Pluto and Aquarius. So these are some big structural changes happening this summer with the nodes shifting and Venus retrograde. So this is like a very hard working full moon where, like, for me, I can't vacation 3 hours, 3 to 4 hours. And then naturally, I just start thinking about astrology. I just start thinking about, you know what I'm saying? I just start thinking about work. So um, this could be a great combination of, you know, working hard and enjoying yourself, enjoying the fruits of your labor, enjoying the people in your life, enjoying, you know, you work so hard so that you can have that Cancer safeness, that Cancer hominess. You work so hard so that you can relax. That's the whole point of the Cancer Capricorn axis. So that's the whole point of this weekend coming into Monday with the full moon trine Jupiter, is that you get the big aha moment. You see something very clear as you're going into the weekend with the Mercury cazimi in Cancer, and you know where you stand with that. You know where you stand with it. You know how you feel about it. And even if you have, because it's Cancer, now I'm a Cancer rising, so I'm telling you, I have an initial reaction to something, and I know that if I wait, I will feel differently. I will feel differently if I just wait. And I learned about this years ago with emails. I would read an email, and I learned not to respond to an email right away, because if I waited like a day and I go back to read that email, it reads differently to me. It reads totally differently to me. It's like a whole different email. And nothing happened. It was just me. Cancer energy, it's water energy. So it's like spiritual, emotional, psychic, cyclical, moody. Like it's just very fluid. So that Mercury cazimi could have given you like almost like double-bodied sort of energy, where maybe you had like an initial reaction, but then if you gave yourself some time, you feel something differently, or you just have, you know, like a different perspective on it. So allow room for that to happen, because you're going to get the balancing act Monday with the full moon in Capricorn. And that is when you are cogent, sharp, realistic, and rational. You have the clarity of purpose, you have the self respect, the integrity, or you know very clearly where it's lacking. And you'll be able to, like I said, either wrap up some things or do some last things that you've got to do in order to create that balance where, okay, I've been too much duty over here and I haven't been enjoying enough of the fruits of my labor. Or I've been too emotionally spun out over this, and I really need to um, invest more into myself and be able to, you know, build something that'll increase my self-respect, because I've just been over giving in this Cancer area and it's just been too much and I need to pull it back. You know, like it's just the balance between the emotional commitment and the enjoyment of what that emotional commitment is supposed to bring in and what it's supposed to provide. Because both of these can get pretty toxic, especially when we get into manipulating feelings of duty, manipulating feelings of responsibility, manipulating feelings of, or manipulating home and family, you know, using children, leveraging family bonding, or leveraging relationships. I can't tell you how many times I've seen, you know, either the money maker, the breadwinner, manipulating finances of the family to get their way, or the feminine dominant caretaking person in the family manipulating family bonds and bondings, and making it so that the parent can't have like a real bond with like one of the kids or grandkids, or like it's just, it gets insane. So don't ignore any of that. If you're seeing that happening in your family relationships and your work relationships, this is the clearing out full moon where you have the big picture. And don't worry about the details. We're going to get to that later in the week. Look at the big picture and really trust your gut. Look at your perspective, look at your perception of things, and play around with them. Play around thinking and feeling from different perspectives within yourself, with other people, and you will come to the right conclusions for yourself that you'll be able to kind of take with you as we go through the week. So that, I know that was like a very heavy full moon report, but it's a full moon in Capricorn and I'm a Capricorn, so you're going to get the real, real. Tuesday, the 4th of July. Happy 4th. Happy birthday, America. I'm calling this day shedding skin. So as you can see, we have the moon conjuncting Pluto and Capricorn. So listen, this is only going to be uncomfortable when you are resisting the necessary changes. Okay, so the power to change yourself and the situation positively is in your hands in this Capricorn area of life. So you may actually receive power, like have the ability. That's what all power is. Power, by definition, is an ability to do something. So if you hear the word power and you immediately feel resentful, that's a you problem. That's a you issue. You have an issue with that word. You have some other issues with some other things that are beyond the scope of this video. But the word power isn't a bad word, and it doesn't mean anything inherently bad. It's your perception. Maybe seeing people misuse power gave you that relationship to the word power, but just the word power existing isn't hurting anybody. This is the point I'm trying to make about this entire full moon for you. So you're shedding, you have an opportunity to shed skin. Any ugly feelings that come up, any ugly thoughts that come down are just to get out, to leave. Okay? So you will want to face your fears and you want to stare down your demons. You have an opportunity to do this. You have an opportunity to take your power back from whatever is making you scared, whatever your fear is, whatever your, yeah, whatever your fear is, whatever your, it's controlling you. You're not controlling it. You can take your power back from that. This is like, I would say, if anyone, call the bluff, call the bluff, be confident in yourself. This is a week of confidence. You cannot have a full moon in Capricorn and like piss your pants. This is not that. This is not the week for that. This is the week to face your fears and stare down your demons and take your power back. If you have not done that in order to reach the accomplishment that you are now celebrating over the next 2 weeks. So you see, it's a different, everyone's at different spots and stages. So if you've already done that, you've been facing your fears, you've been staring down your demons, you've been coming up against challenges, and it's led you to this, culminating moment, or you've got to do that over the next couple of weeks. Tuesday is a day when you can really kind of like wipe the slate clean and really do a nice big purge, or balance out some power imbalances, that kind of thing. Wednesday, I am calling it big appetites, and that's because we've got a couple of things happening. We have the moon in Aquarius forming that square, no wait, oh it is, yeah, it's right there, square to Jupiter in Taurus. And then I was thinking about Mercury. Mercury is at 18 degrees of Cancer and forming a perfect, forming the sextile to Uranus in Taurus. That's what's perfect. And perfecting the square to Chiron in Aries. So the moon square Jupiter is saying that we do definitely have an appetite for like weird, big, new, and different. But the fact that Mercury is sextiling Uranus and Taurus, it does add to it, but it's sort of like it's sort of okay. So because the square to Chiron's happening, this is like the soft spot. This is like the wound, something embarrassing comes up. Be humble on Wednesday, by the way. Like definitely be humble, because there could be something so cringy and embarrassing that just humbles you immediately. So I would just walk into Wednesday super humble no matter what. And anything embarrassing that happens, try to laugh it off. Laugh it off. Make a joke. That's my out for everything. Absolutely everything. It does not always work because sometimes the humor doesn't like match up perfectly, but at least I tried. So the square over to Chiron is like that thing, like something awkward is going to come up. It's embarrassing. It's a sore spot. It's a softness. It's the soft, gooey, exposed, sore of a wound. Okay. But Mercury sextiling Uranus and Taurus, I just feel is just like the wrong solution. It's like when someone, okay, someone like that, what's that movie where she shits in her wedding dress and or no, no, wait, she's trying it on. She's trying it. She's trying on a new wedding dress, and she poops in it. That would be like the Mercury square Chiron. That would totally fulfill that perfectly. But Mercury sextiling Uranus would be if someone offered a solution, like a suggestion, but something that was totally inappropriate or just weird or like bizarre, you know? So it's like that day, like on Wednesday, like you have a really big appetite for something like that, Moon square Jupiter, but it could just, the momentum of it, like something kind of just really clashes, and then like the solutions are a little bit odd. So you would have to either be very secure with yourself to just see your shit-stained wedding dress in pieces all over the room and say like, okay, let's do it. I'll try it. Or you'll or you'll like run away or something. Like it's just like a weird Wednesday's kind of a weird day. But I feel like it'll be maybe driven by that moon in Aquarius that's like, dude, let's change things up a bit in here. You know what I'm saying? So it bumps into Jupiter, and then Mercury's doing this weird thing in the sextile too. So the Taurus house is lit up, Cancer, Aquarius houses are lit up. So it might even be that you have to just kind of reconcile that something's going to be awkward and you have to talk about it, or something is awkward or uncomfortable for somebody else and you try to talk to them about it, but they don't want to hear what you have to say. It's just a little bit strange. Anyway, that's Wednesday. Oh, I should say it can be healing. But it'll just depend on who it is that you're talking to, or it'll depend on you yourself. It'll depend on whatever the situation is and how everyone deals with if they can be humble. Like we only the ego dies with the body, okay? The ego is like another arm or something, it's like another appendage. It will die with your physical body. So if you treat it like another hand or another body part, a tail or a horn or something, I think it'll help you. I really do. Because it'll help you detach your identity to it, which is where everyone gets into trouble. That's where everyone falls. Everyone falls. Everyone. So if you can use your ego like you use your legs, it'll be easier for you to put it down when you need to put it down. So, alternatively, I can see Wednesday for a very, very select few of you watching me right now. Even less than that can be healing and profound and expansive and like a relief, because you will know that you have this awkward thing to get through and you'll be able to actually get through it, but without the ego. Because the ego is what like stops you from going beyond, from breaking through, because it's a human thing. It's not a spiritual thing. It's a human protective thing. Anyway, okay, let's keep going. Let's move on. Thursday the 6th of July. I'm calling it missing pieces. Missing pieces. And that's because we have the moon in Pisces coming up. Oh, it's like very early in the morning. Let's see, when does it go? The moon will conjunct, there's Saturn and Pisces. So it's going to be building all day on Thursday. Moon will conjunct Saturn. Now, here's the thing about moon meeting Saturn and Pisces while Saturn is retrograde. We must address the doubts that we have. This is going to be confronting our fears, confronting our doubts. So Saturn, this is interesting. So Saturn and Neptune are both retrograde, but they have completely different influences. So what it means when they're both retrograde in Pisces is very different. So Neptune stationing retrograde also contributed to what was going on coming into the weekend, this past weekend, of clarity and seeing something very clearly and, just benefiting from not having the rose-colored glasses on. And then you have Saturn that recently stationed retrograde in Pisces, which sort of is a reversal of that. So Saturn putting going to sleep, essentially, just kind of taking a break from being on guard and on duty, is allowing a little bit more leeway. So with the moon coming in to connect with that, you're going to get a little bit of both. You're going to be able to feel and intuit a lot of information. It will be up to you to sort this out. So if you can be a little bit more perceptive with your own doubts and your own fears, it'll be based on the quality of your private time alone with yourself. If you can really trust yourself and be in your own mind, this is your private life. Your private life is just you and your mind, you with yourself. And that's really what I feel is so clear and strong at this Capricorn full moon for me personally, is like, wow, like I'm just reflecting on, and this is weird, but wishes, like life dreams, started coming true for me in 2018. And I didn't even realize it because I was always focusing on the life dreams that were not coming true yet. That it was really difficult for me to focus on life achievements and dreams that were coming true. Like in 2018, I sold a screenplay. Like I just decided, like, I'm gonna be, I'm a writer, I'm gonna screenwriting, and then boom, like it's this huge thing that happened. And so, and then 2019, another wish came true. And then it was 2021 that the next big life wish came true. And you know what I'm saying? So it's just been really clear to me personally, not just the past 6 months, but just thinking, big picture again. So on this day, with the moon in Pisces, which is like everything connecting with Saturn, you'll also again have more of this big picture perspective. But it's a test. It's a test of your self perception, and it's a test of how strong and private your private world really is. This is really genuinely where you don't want to let anyone get in. Not your best friend, not your spouse. That's always what it happens to be. You think you're telling someone a secret. It's not about who you trust, it's about who they trust. And everyone always tells two people that you swear to secrecy. They will tell their spouse and they will tell their best friend. And then those two people will tell the two people they trust more than anyone else on earth, their spouse and their best friend, so on and so forth. So you really need to trust yourself with your big life decisions. And when you have these kinds of transits, like Pisces transits and Neptune, and this is Moon in Pisces, like it's really easy to lose yourself. But this is, God, I wish I could just like get in your life and do this with you. So you're at this moment, you're with yourself, and you're maybe a little scared or afraid, or you're doubting, you have these doubts, you have these fears. You don't quite trust yourself because you know you shouldn't be feeling fear, you know you shouldn't be feeling doubt, and you know you want to be confident. So you're already afraid that you're going to do something that's the wrong thing out of fear. You're already afraid that you're going to have a lapse in judgment because you're having a lapse in judgment. You're already in this sort of like wobbly space. This is sort of like the same point where the winners and losers get separated. Okay, so let me start there. You lose a game. A winner says, I'm going to get better, I'm going to come back, and I'm going to come back twice as hard. The loser says, I'm a loser, I lost this game, I'll never be anything, I'm going to quit and give up. Okay? But that's a moment in your private world between you and yourself that you make that choice. No one else made that choice for you. No one forced you to give up. No one held a gun to your head to give up something that you love to do, whatever. And this is where the Capricorn full moon playing out over the next 2 weeks until July the 17th is really going to work on us, is come to grips with that. It was your decision. These are your choices that you live with. You don't blame anybody else for these choices or decisions. There's no one else. It's just you. So you have to be your very best friend to yourself. You have to be, this goes also with the inner child work, but this is a little bit different than that. I'm not really talking about the subliminal self. I'm not talking about the inner child. I'm talking about conscious, adult, grown up you right now. You're with yourself. Maybe you're praying. Maybe you're meditating. You're in a private world. Maybe you are confused, or you don't know what to do about something, or you're just feeling dissatisfied. Maybe you're apathetic. Maybe you feel apathy. And You're afraid of doing the wrong thing because of a lapse in judgment. Maybe you're like, oh, I'm just loopy. It's just the moon in Pisces. This will fade in a couple of days. I'm just going to wait it out. Something like this. You are being tested in your private space, the self-perception test. And the way to get through this self-perception test is, so the thing that you're afraid of, losing yourself, losing your grip on reality, losing good judgment, it's that energy that you need to change your perception to so that you can actually use that the way that it's supposed to be used. All of that energy, you need to use it the way it's meant to be used. And the way to use it the way it's meant to be used is spiritually, is to do the energy work, to have a talk with your higher self, to connect with source and universe. And when you feel doubt about that, that's when you need someone like me or a spiritual astrologer or whatever you're guided towards. Maybe there's like an art therapist where, I don't know, something about painting dogs or whatever just opens you up to clarity, whatever it is, you're going to be guided towards it. But that's just like a mentor or like a person, something to help you make that connection. That's why you have to just keep it yourself, just you in your private world, because it's not just you, it's you and source, it's you and your higher self. And that's what you have to trust, and that's what you surrender to. So it's the other side of the fear. There's a lot of polar. I can go on and on about like polarity and perception, all this stuff, but it's the other side of the energy that this is trying to get you to use. And with the conjunction to Saturn, it's going to turn the volume up on the fears, turn the volume up on the doubts, specifically the doubts. And here's the thing. Maybe you're going, I've heard a lot of stories about people on their wedding day calling their exes and saying like, is there a chance for us? Is there a chance that we can be together, before they go and like marry somebody else? So let's say you're in one of those kinds of positions. Let's say you just got over a breakup and you're with your fiance, now you're getting married. Okay. And you're like, well, you know what? I don't know if the problems that I had with my fiance, they promised and they're making changes and they've made great changes the last year, last 6 months, whatever. But I just don't know if this is going to stick. I don't know if this is going to be a consistent thing. Maybe I should give my ex another chance. Maybe I should. I just met this new person. Maybe I should start getting to know something new, whatever. Those could be some of the doubts as an example. Or maybe it's a relocation for a job, or maybe it's a big career decision, whatever happens to be. Again, this comes down to the power of your self-perception and you trusting yourself in your own private world, your private world, trusting your judgment, trusting yourself. And that's going to guide your choice because you could make what you think is the right choice, but you felt intuitively maybe wasn't the right choice, but you're trying to do the right thing, remember? You could marry the fiance and maybe the changes don't last and maybe um, in 10, 15 years they slack off on those changes and then they start bringing up things from the past and then they're mad at you all over again and you're like, well, I thought we let this go and it's a thing. Maybe you get with the ex and that blows up, or maybe you meet someone new and that doesn't work out. Whatever, like any of these choices, it's not about trying to out strategize life. I'm so sorry. I wish it were different. I really do. But it's not. That's not the point. The point of life is self mastery. The point of life, all of this, the relationships and the jobs and all the things, is only to reinforce what I said about you in your private world so you can connect to your higher self, so you get your guidance. And that's where the confidence really, really comes from. That's where faith, that's where real faith and belief really, 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 really come from. Okay, so that is Thursday. missing pieces. And, I'm calling it missing pieces because Pisces has like Pisces is like the kitchen sink energy. And with Saturn, I feel like there could be something sort of regained, something, it's almost like a squishy backbone. Saturn and Pisces, it's like animals, like mice, how they can kind of like squish their little spines to fit under doorways and stuff. I feel like it's a little bit more of a flexible spine. Okay, so that room that you get is to make that connection. But if there's like someone that doesn't believe in anything, they're not gonna get that connection. They're not gonna feel that connection before they make it. They're gonna go get lost. They're going to devolve into fear. They're gonna make decisions based on fear. They're going to run away from the situation. They're just gonna like lose themselves or something, right? So you just have to like broker that little itty bitty bridge to sort of make that connection, and you can actually regain something that was missing, because this might be an energy, this might be a day missing pieces where you just feel very dissatisfied, where this is just depressing and heavy and serious and no way out, and it just feels dark and glum. But that's because you're not in your private world reaching the right way, in the right direction. You're misusing that energy. Okay, God, it's like a webinar day today, isn't it? Friday the 7th? Is that the 7th? Yes, Friday the 7th of July. I am calling this day Stubborn Wounds and Needs. And that's because basically we just have the sun, 15 degrees of Cancer, applying in their square to Chiron. So there's like some Chiron stuff this week, which Chiron is the wounded healer and governs where we feel very cringe and embarrassed and like low self-esteem and pretty vulnerable. Like all of those wounds are just like right on front display. But it's where we can actually heal other people with the same wounds that we have. So if you feel a lack of confidence, you know, asking someone out, socializing, getting to know people. This is like Amelie, where the guy tells her, and he's like, that scene creeps me out because that's happened to me in my life with my friend. I have this like much older friend who's like that guy from Amelie, and he said the same thing to me, and it just freaks me out every time I watch that movie. But he's basically saying like your whole life is going to like pass you by. Like you have to get out and meet people. Like you have to talk to people. You just like have to do it. You have to take a chance. You just have to try. It's such a hard thing to hear. It's so hard. But anyway, so but whatever it is, like so in that movie, he's basically a recluse. So that's my whole point of this is that he's a recluse and he's telling another recluse, like, listen, you got to get out there or you're going to die alone. Like, so it's like do or die. Like overcome your fear of meeting people and talking to people and giving someone a chance. Don't just write someone off that they're not going to understand you right away. Don't just, um, go somewhere thinking like no one's ever going to understand you. Like let yourself give other people a chance. He's telling her this because he's this, old decrepit man about to die, and he doesn't want her to end up like that. So, the moon is applying starting on Friday, this square to Chiron in Aries, and it's going to be a thing like as you kind of go into that next weekend. So, we'll have to work out a workable way to approach and or reapproach a very stubborn wound that we're all just too happy to pretend isn't there. And the same goes for needs that we really have that feel very inconvenient. Like, oh, it'd be just my life would be so much easier if I didn't have this need, you know? Um, that's going to start the pressure on Friday as we go into the weekend. So expect because it's the sun, it's a spotlight, there's going to be something in both of these areas of life, Cancer and the Aries area of life, where we just we either feel really guilty for having certain needs that are not being met, um, or we're feeling, shame and fear and maybe some guilt in regards to a lack of self-esteem to get those needs met, to be brave and to be courageous and to feel confident that we can go out and change our lives with Chiron being in Aries. So that's Friday. It can still be a nice day. Like again, like I'm saying, most people it's going to be more on like the awkward, embarrassing side, but for the very few out there, this could be a very healing day for, I would say more on the side of the masculine wounds. Could be more healing. So healing more of that low self-esteem, low self-confidence, embracing the vulnerabilities, embracing maybe even redefining how you see masculine energy. Like I'm saying, like just take the perception, flip it on its head, remove the judgments, choose to rather understand than judge. I've been saying that for years now. And it's just because I've just seen results of my thinking and decision making, and I just learn from them and grow from them. And I just don't, you get to a point where you can't choose the same thing over and over again. Like you just can't because your evolution just won't let you anymore. So this could be a moment where you're like, okay, I finally get it. I'm gonna let it go. I'm going to, whatever. Um, it depends. Like this might be a new wound. This could be a resurfacing. This might be like a stubborn wound that kind of, okay. So for wounds and things like that that come up again and again, and they're not getting healed or they're not, the healing is happening when it's consistent and it sticks. Because if you make progress but it doesn't stick or it doesn't last, you're not really getting to the thing. You're not really getting to the heart of the issue. So when things kind of come up and you're trying to heal and it kind of goes away, but then it comes back up again, you're trying to heal, but then it goes away, you're probably not getting a good perspective on that. I don't know if we'll say it's like a diagnosis or something of what some issue is. Um, you might end up doing more damage than good when you try to like keep reapproaching it and to keep like trying again. And I'm going to analogize this with telekinesis. So if you're practicing, it's really psychokinesis, telekinesis. If you're practicing, and if you're getting really frustrated right away and it's not moving, it's not doing what you want to do, stop. Stop. Stop, 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 stop. Stop immediately for the day. For the entire, go do something fun and happy. You want to come back the next day fresh. But you don't keep practicing once you've hit that like frustrating low self-esteem moment, because everything after that is going to do more damage to your subconscious, damage to your confidence. And that damage is like its own little trauma and it accumulates on top of maybe like the bedrock of trauma, whatever. So I'm going to say like don't push it this next weekend. Don't like, if you call a friend and they're depressed, I wouldn't push it. I would say you invite them out to something and say, okay, well, if you change your mind, we're going to be here. I would do that, but I wouldn't push it because it could do more damage. That's all. It could just do more damage than good. That's Friday. Happy Saturday, everybody. I forgot to show you guys. Check this out. I don't have the what you call on right now, but this is the newest member of the family. This is the hardest working member of the family. This is just the upgraded, cool, awesome new. This is even a bigger water bottle than the pink one. This one holds like 70 ounces or something. Let me see. Yeah, 70 ounces. So being a good girl water drinker over here. Okay, Amazon. Someone's interesting. Amazon. Saturday, the 8th of July, I'm calling it sharp intuition. So, what do we have going on for Saturday? It's kind of crucial. Look at Mars. Oh my God. Mars is at the 29th degree of Leo. Okay, so we've got a couple of things. We've got the moon. Where's that little moon? So the moon's in Aries right now, but before that happens, the moon will actually conjoin Neptune retrograding Pisces and trine over to Mercury in Cancer. But here's the thing. Look at Mercury in Cancer. Mercury in Cancer is just gotten over a conjunction or some just really close with Lilith right there, okay? And I normally don't talk about that, but I'm talking about it now. So when the moon meets Neptune in Pisces, trining Mercury, that is having us so tuned in. You are so tuned in psychically. Emotion, it's going to be through your emotions, and it's going to be spiritually, psychically. You're very, very tuned in. Your little spidey senses are like, okay, this can be of excellent benefit to you if you can control your perception. If you can control your perception, then you have a lot of information that you can use to make amazing decisions for yourself. When you lack the perception, you're going to be operating from that ego, the human ego needs, and you're going to make short sighted decisions. And you're going to make decisions that keep right now and the past very like secure. You're going to be more focused on like maintaining and securing, but it's that spirituality, even for the darkness, that keeps you going forward. So if you even think of like emperors and you think of like warlords, it was even spirituality and psychic ability that made them drive forward, that made them explore new areas, that made them orient towards growth and expansion. Because everything about the human instinct says to stay the same, keep the status quo. It's safer, it'll keep you alive. So it's very unusual to have very growth oriented people, for better and for worse. Remember, we're not making a judgment on it. We're not polarizing what is with our perception. It just is what it is, and we're controlling our perception on it. So you have that with people making money, becoming super billionaires, and you have that with people creating forests and planting trees and all kinds of things. So back to Saturday. Sharp intuition, you have this amazing tuned in psychic ability in a flash of, it might even come through like a flood of feelings, okay? So remember, don't judge any of these thoughts or feelings that are coming up. Just think all of it as like psychic intel, psychic information, okay? But here's the thing, is that Mercury is right up there with Lilith, and this is just a Saturday, Sunday thing with Mercury and Lilith. So here's the thing, it's going to be one of two things, and it might even be both. And this is part of what you're psychically, spiritually, and emotionally tuning into, is that it may, depending on what's going on in your life right now, it could exaggerate feeling very used. It could exaggerate feeling like you are being leveraged by somebody else, whether that's a family member, a spouse, an institution, the government. You could feel by society. This could exaggerate you feeling scapegoated, that you were thrown under the bus, you were sacrificed, you were you served a purpose for someone else's end game. You were a pawn in someone else's chess game. You were meaningless to someone else to get what they wanted. You were used, you were scapegoated, you were leveraged for someone else to give it. It could exaggerate those kinds of feelings. And you could be picking that up very psychically. There could even be signs and synchronicities to that. Or, and it's in Cancer, so it could even have to do with, like, it could be very family oriented. It could be sexual labor, emotional labor. It could have to do with all of like home things, business things, even with the opposition to, Pluto and Capricorn building up. Like, it could be all of the Capricorn Cancer themes playing out. But on the flip side of that, it may turn into, if you alchemize this energy, or it could exaggerate any kind of feelings and thoughts of self advocacy and self protection. Okay. So that's what Lilith goes through at the very end of it, is to, realize that they've been cast out to the dark cave, and to realize that they have been, scapegoated, leveraged, or used or something. And then it's like, okay, take all the power back. And so then you could become, some kind of all powerful something, something. But whatever, it could just be like a spike. It could be a spike of this feeling, and You may need to regain some power and control in a situation. You may need to be careful though. Actually, be careful, because this could even be to the unawares. This could be someone leveraging home, family, children, affection, leveraging all of those things, leveraging, yeah, actually, with that opposition to Pluto and Capricorn, it could definitely be that someone's just actually doing that at that time. That's just happening maybe in the Capricorn, Cancer, or Pisces areas of life. So if any of those are people houses for you, then definitely it could be playing out in that sense, where there's something either more overt or maybe it's a little bit more covert under the surface. So there's that. So make sure that no one's trying to, scapegoat you, use you, control you, or anything, leverage you, anything like that. But like I said, use the power of your intuitions. Could also be like a sexy time, I think. I think it's weird. Lilith, okay, so you can see we actually also have Juno here, which is like the goddess wife of Jupiter, and we have Lilith at 25. So it's kind of weird because they're the total opposites. Juno would be the wife, Lilith would be the mistress. It's weird. I don't use asteroids really, or points and things, but I don't know. I have Lilith conjunct Juno in my chart, so I think it's a weird. I'm the Jackie and the Marilyn, is how I would put that. So if you have that too, it's the two sides of the same coin. All right, moving on to Sunday, July the 9th. Okay, Sunday, July the 9th, I'm calling it be brave. Be very, very brave. So we have the moon conjuncting Chiron in Aries, as you can see down here. Could be a very cringy moment for us. Could feel definitely be feeling very cringe, or sort of like shy or embarrassed, or um not confident. This is a very humbling energy, very humbling. And again, more look at, we've got still Lilith and Mercury there. Mercury's really, really close to that perfecting opposition between itself, Mercury and Cancer, and Pluto and Capricorn. So something continues to build. Um, and then it's the quarter moon in Aries, the waxing, gaining, and like quarter moon, where we have to push through an obstacle. And this is a hard one. This is a very hard one. The moon conjoining, crossing Chiron. This is again just like knowing what cannot be ignored, knowing the needs that cannot be ignored. And like you just have to reconcile it. You have to figure out how you're going to move forward. And that's the Chiron, is to push, excuse me, that's the quarter moon, is to push through the fear. Face your fears, stare down your demons. Oh, wait, did I say waxing? I meant waning, excuse me. The waning, losing in light, quarter moon in Aries. So we're not pushing through the fear, we are surrendering the fear. Okay? So this is a much more of, how would I say this? Because it's a wrapping up energy. Whereas if it were a waxing moon, we would push through the fear. We would say, like, just do it. But because we're on the other side of that cycle, this is more where you just have to accept something from the full moon. So you're not really, you're, how do I put this? You're not, something already came clear for you that weekend. What was the first weekend of July, leading into the full moon of Capricorn? Something already became clear with the Mercury Cazimi in Cancer, the full moon in Capricorn, Pluto's there, retrograding Capricorn. Something was already made clear. So this quarter moon in Aries will further stimulate all of those structures, whether this axis for you is how you think and speak and in your neighborhoods, or if this is more of a psychological internal processes axis for you, or whether it's relationships in your outer world and how you live your life kind of axis for you. It's practicing acceptance and making some last cullings, I guess, so some some last little sweeping away of some karma as you kind of prepare the ground for your new beginning, which would be the new moon on the 17th. So this next week, it'll still be a little bit more of ending, releasing, letting go. Things are closing out. If something came to a head, the full moon, these are just more of the little things and the details that need follow-ups and signatures and closures and like just finishing up type of things for the next week. But there may be something specific. So I'm still going to say to be brave though. Be brave because whatever this is, this wound, this pain, it is ultimately trying to heal. It's ultimately trying to feel better. So don't hurt yourself with your own perception. Don't hurt yourself with your own expectations of what you think healing it means for you or what you think healing looks like for you. I would have never in a million years thought, let alone chosen and tried for being on the internet to be a healing thing for me, that I would have ran in the exact opposite direction. That would have never occurred to me. It had to have been a fluke. It had to have been an accident. It had to have been a completely random thing that I started to do during a time when I was crying every day and I couldn't even be on camera. Didn't even want my face on camera. Couldn't have happened on camera. I had to wait. So it was just so random and weird. And I've met so many people. I love making friends off the internet now. Like it's the coolest thing ever. I like being on the internet. It's fun and it is healing. It is really it has been a very positive thing for me. So don't whatever this quarter moon in Aries is, don't judge it. Maybe it's sharing some of your life with maybe you just buried your son. You just buried your goddamn son. And the next day, your sister forces you out to a baseball game or something. And it's like the last thing you want to do, the last place you want to be. And, you're just sobbing or your eyes are all red. You can't enjoy anything. And, she gets up to go to the bathroom. Maybe this young boy sits next to you or close to you or stands by you and maybe they're like lost or they're looking for something or they're trying to like hold a bunch of different things and you're like trying to ignore them because you're set on being depressed and finally they're just so annoying to you that you look over and you give them some life advice. You teach them how to hold on to like a parking pass or you show them a better way to move through stadiums or like hiding your money or you share they ask you a question, you share a little anecdote about when you were a young man or share a story about your son and something and talk about him as if he's still alive so you don't have to talk about how he just died and it could be that that experience was very healing for you because it gave you the same feeling of being a father. It's not what you wanted. It's not that you got to be a father to your son, but you got to have this moment, this fleeting moment where you were in that role and you were lovingly doing and saying what you would have done for your own son to some stranger, someone else's son. And maybe that boy lost his dad to war growing up or to alcoholism or something and he just never had an experience like that. He didn't have a dad to tell him all these things and so he got this experience, this father son experience in a way that he didn't expect. So if I can help you guys at all, it's to not judge any of the brilliance and genius of life itself, that you really have a lot less to really think and worry about. But what you do have to think and concern yourself with is your own business, your private world. And that's what this week is about with the full moon in Capricorn, is getting down to your business. So at this quarter moon, now you're releasing, letting go of some ego wounds that are not even probably really yours. They're probably inherited from your parents or your ancestry, epigenetic memory, maybe societal influences, maybe the environment you grew up in, whatever. You're letting that go. So be brave and surrendering and letting go. You guys, I am so happy. Look at this. I love this calculator so much. I can't get over it. The buttons are so fun. Mm, very, very fun. Okay, so tuning into the collective energy, I saw some weird little creatures, and so oh, that's another thing. So I'm going to be talking more about everything. I've only been sharing the positive stuff these past few years that I've been on the internet, and more so on the TikTok. I'm going to be sharing everything. So if that's at all interesting to you, feel free to follow me. Some of the TikToks I will repost to the YouTube channel, but not all of them. So, so some of the things that I saw tuning into your energy were these, they're almost like they're little creatures, but they're sort of like long, almost like a werewolf type and like hunched over. I saw like those things like scurrying in the streets. It's very strange. So let's see what that could possibly be part of your message. Okay, this is really positive. So you've got the Sun, the Emperor, and the Three of Pentacles. To start, beautiful news, happy news, happy, happy, happy news. This is particularly great news at work, from a boss, for a team, about a team, putting a team together. Ooh, there could be a spiritual mentor or any kind of mentor, any person with experience that is somehow part of this, especially for the leader of a team. Two of Pentacles and the Six of Cups. This feels so sort of like a comic book thing to me. Like this little creature, these little creatures that I'm seeing. Sort of like comic book stuff. This is a very long video. We're going to stop at three positions. Bottom of the deck, the Moon, the King of Wands, and the Four. Okay, so this is very clearly, in the Four of Swords, very clearly someone meditating deeply. And I'm going to say don't act until you've settled down your mind, until you settle down some of these deeper roiling emotions. And I feel like that's what this person would do anyway. I don't feel like they would be someone that would sort of take like wasteful action. I don't feel like that kind of a vibe to me. This over here feels like trying to organize either a vacation, afford a vacation, organize travel documents, or just try to like organize the past and organize, um, like wrapping up some loose ends with maybe like a property that you need to sell or like something. Okay, what's this great news? The Sun, the Emperor, and the Three of Pentacles, please. Ooh, Archangel Michael, we have the King of Swords. To clarify, this is almost like a really advantageous legal progression, like something that has happened very positively in a litigious sense, and there's been maybe even like a litigious win of some sort, or there's some kind of permission granted, or the budget was approved, or like something is like something gets like the okay to go ahead, essentially. Or it could be someone getting a little bit more clear about purpose, about what they're going to do for work, about what project they're going to do, what's next for someone professionally, who someone will be working with next, who's going to be on the team, where they're going to end up, that kind of thing. You get those kinds of answers coming in. Two of Pentacles. Oh no, this was next. Let's take a look at the Hermit, please. This is the Mentor, the Wizened. Oh, Five of Wands. Interesting. What's that opposition about? Let me finish this. Let me take a look. It's the Two of Pentacles and the Six of Cups, please. And it is the Queen of Cups. There's a lot of people here. This is like a very people, personnel, whether this is like family, work, career, personal relationships, friendships. It's people, it's very people focused. There may be a little bit of a conflict of interest in the sense that maybe like a spouse wouldn't be supportive of you working so much. Maybe you're getting promoted, or you have like a new ambition for your career that you're going for and it's doing really well. Or you have like an innovative new idea. Maybe you are like aligning with someone, maybe you're collaborating with someone and you're excited about it, but the spouse isn't so happy or supportive of it. This is just like it feels like the very beginning. She's showing me this, like these creatures that I was seeing, but like they're filled in. So, no, it's chasing Amy. It's chasing Amy because he's the one of them is this not the stenciler. One of them draws and then one of them like colors it in, like fades it in or something. She's showing me that. So I think it's stenciler. I don't remember. It's like a joke in the movie. But anyway, so this is like the very beginning of something. There's something that is just coming into being. It's just starting. For some of you, this is like an idea that you've been wanting to do, and you're finally like physically doing it, or putting the people together, something like that. And um, I like it. Like it looks really great financially, professionally, publicly. This looks really good. It really just looks like there might be some personal issues, a little bit more behind the scenes, maybe. And honestly, it could be like two or more people's spouses might have some. This is almost like coming out of, lockdown and working from home and, the dogs, everyone's used to everyone being there. And then people go back to work and it's like a shock to the system, where it's like, oh my God, now I have to get used to you being gone all day, every day, 5 days a week. Are you kidding me? It's kind of like a little bit like that. So this is just the beginning of it. There's a lot more here, I can tell. This is like people are just now coping with some change. People are now coping with, okay, we're moving across the country. Okay, we're getting married. Okay, we're doing this. Okay, we're launching this project. Okay, we are merging companies. It's like, okay, you're going to be working with these people now. It's like people are just getting the news. This person's trying to like process what they feel and what they think before they do or say anything. Smart person. This person's the wisest of everyone, and they're very much self-aware of their own conflicts. So they're probably like meditating or they're observing their own emotions and they're working through them. Like it's just a five of wands. Like this person's not in any kind of danger of doing anything wrong or making any bad decisions. They're very wizened and they've seen a thing or two. They're still like a little bit like adjusting, but it's like they're probably one of the leaders of this whole thing. So they're probably just like, oh, I gotta get up an hour earlier every morning or something like that. This person over here is, this person is the one that feels a little bit out of place to me. This one feels a little bit lost, a little bit stuck in the past, where they may be trying to get out of a rut. They may be trying to get out of some nostalgia, like some kind of everything was so perfect in 2010 or something. You know what I'm saying? Like that this is giving me like that kind of like a vibe. Like their heart is still there. Their heart is still in 2010 or whatever. Their heart is still in their childhood. Their heart is still in the past. And they're trying to like, I don't know if they're trying to like bring it into the future. I don't know if they're trying to update it. I don't know if they're trying to keep it alive, but they're trying something. Okay, let's take a look at your guidance really quickly. Tell me about you guys, like how long this hair is. Oh my God, I'm gonna say that in every single video, every single one. Okay, any other guidance for my people for this week ahead, please? So honestly, there's good news this week. Don't worry about anything else. What do you need to release? Except thinking about what you need to release, of course. What do you need to release? Let it go. Let it go. And the answers you need are coming. Full moon and Gemini energy, waning moon energy. We're on a waning moon, and then so nothing is yet set in stone. Kind of like what I'm saying here is that like this is just you just. I know these two people are happy. This Emperor and Archangel Michael are happy over here. They are very happy. They are happy. So happy. So that's cool. That's very cool. All right. It's like these three people over here. This one's like the next happiest. So they're like they might have to they're not going to be very inconvenienced. They're very, very happy. They're very happy. They just have like a little bit of like how would I put this? It's like a little adjustment. Like maybe they have to move or something. I know that's not a little adjustment, but I think it would be for this type of person. Um, so these people don't have anything to release. This person, I feel like they're already going to release anything they need to release, like any kind of like, this is more like I'm saying with like a little bit of discomfort. Like maybe they have to pack or move or clean or something like that. Not a big deal. This person has to release the past very clearly. This person has to release fear and worries. So there you have it. I love you guys. Take very good care. I will check in on you soon. Until that time, my lovelies, many beautiful blessings upon all of your beautiful stars.